Welcome back, guys. And today we are going to be creating our login and sign up flow for the app. Okay. But before we start, I want us to do something quickly. I want us to make some adjustment to this input field right here. Now, if you come to the instance, you'd notice something. Okay. If I should deactivate feedback, you'd see that the forgot password comes to the middle. We don't want that. We want it to maintain that position. Okay, so that is what we're going to fix right away. Okay, and also there is no easy way to deactivate the two of them without and the frame as well. So if I should deactivate feedback and also forgot password, you find out that we still have the auto frame holding the two of them right there. So we need to find a way to delete the auto frame as well. Okay, let's turn those back on. And lastly, I would want us to also change the color right here and make these labels bold. Okay, and let's go ahead and start fixing it. So let's come in here. Okay, select this. First add Shift A because we want to give it more space, and for the height let's go with 32. That's for the forgot password. Okay, Shift A. We'll still come back. Okay, sorry, so select that, Shift A, and for the height you want to go with 32. Okay, you just have to double click on it. Make sure you select it, not the whole thing. Shift A, and you want to go ahead and put in 32 right there. Okay, let me scroll down and Shift A. Remember, select the forgot password, not the entire thing here. Shift A, and I want to go ahead and make it 32. So next we want to select this eye icon for the active state and change the color to primary blue. Okay, primary blue 500. Now we also want to find an easy way to select distance. So let's go ahead and select this section. That's the auto frame holding the feedback and the password. I want to create a Boolean property. So I'm just going to create property, and for this let's call it extras. Okay, let's call them extras. So click on create property. Okay, now select this as well. Now you don't need to click on create property again. You just need to select these extras right here. Okay, select and go to Boolean property extras. Okay, select the last one and then come here, extras. Now let me show you what we've done so far. With what we've adjusted so far, when you select this, okay, and you turn off extras, you can see it has removed everything there. Let me turn it back on and let's try what we've done so far. Let me deactivate feedback. So let me deactivate feedback. Now the password is still moving to the center. So let's fix that right away. So what you want to do, select it. Okay, select that auto frame, come here and choose right. So you should maintain right, double click on it, make sure it's aligned right, and you want to fill container. Okay, so we are going to repeat the same thing here. Double click here to choose right. Okay, make sure it's this icon, and you want to go from fix to fill container. Double click. Okay, and you want to choose right, aligned, and you want to go from there to fill container, and you want to also repeat the same thing on this last one. Remember, double click on the auto layout. Okay, on the auto layouts, double click there, and then you want to also select fill container. Now with what we've done so far, if we come back here and we deactivate feedback, you can see our forgot password fills the container automatically, making sure it maintains its position. So that is basically what we want to achieve. Now with this done, the last thing I actually want to do here is to make this our labels bold. Okay, so we want to use bold instead of regular small. Let's go ahead and choose regular bold. Okay, that's bold there, body bold. Okay, great. The same thing here. Want to go down to bold. Okay, these are just small changes. I want us to make to this input. Okay, and want to go ahead and make it bold. Okay, bold, small, bold. Same thing here, bold. Okay, bold. Okay, I would also want us to go and repeat the same thing on the button components. Okay, so let's go back to our component. Hold down shift and you want to select that text there. Hold down shift, select the text. hold down shift, select the text, hold down shift, select the text. Okay, do that for all the button text, select, and lastly select this. And instead of regular, we just want to scroll down to base bold. Okay, base bold. Okay, that's what we want. Awesome. So let's come back to our app. So now we have done all the corrections we need to do right now. Let's go ahead and start designing our app. Okay, the first screen here is going to be the splash screen. So click on the splash screen and you want to select iPhone 14 and 15 Pro Max. Okay, so let's bring it down. So the next thing you want to do is to name this splash screen. Okay, great. The next thing, I want to get a background color. Now you can actually click on this and use this screen as your background color, but sometimes it can get tricky, especially when you want to create some certain background. Okay, best way to go about it is to either use a frame or a box for your background. For this project, a box will serve us quite all right. So let's go ahead and select this box and let's go ahead and draw the box. It should be the same size as the frame. Okay, perfect. The next thing you want to go ahead and do now is to rename this. So let's call this background. Once you've done that, you want to go ahead and give it a color. So let's choose primary 900. Okay, with this done, I'm just going to lock it so it stays in place. The next thing, I've provided a logo and a particular vector graphics for you to use for this particular screen. So go ahead, import the logo, convert it to a component and use it for your project. So let me go in here and I think I have that logo right there, Spendy. Okay, so Spendy, I have to align it this way and also this way. Okay, align horizontal and vertical center. Now, once I'm done with that, I want to go and bring in our button. So let's take in our button. For these buttons, I don't need the left and right icon. Okay, so the first thing I want to type here is login. Okay, so let's select the button and let's change the text to login. Okay, another thing I want to do, let me go ahead and activate our grid so that we can actually see it. That's layout grid. That's the 2-column layout grid. Okay, let me zoom in. So it's always important to zoom in when designing. So let's select these two now. Let's select this button, move it here, and let me increase the size. Okay, make sure it snaps. Okay, perfect. Now for the first button, the login, I want us to use the secondary button. Okay, and then let's go ahead and duplicate this button. And for this, we want to use the primary button. Now on a splash screen where you have login and the sign up or the login and sign up button, you want to make sure the sign up is the primary button because that is the most important action you want people to take. Anybody logging in is probably a returning user, so they know they are already familiar with the app. Okay, but for first timers, you want to draw their attention to login. So that is why on a screen like this, you want to make sure the login is the primary button. The sign up is the primary button. Okay, so let's go ahead and type in sign up right here. Sign up. Okay, so we have it there, sign up and login. So let's select these two buttons and then let's click on Shift A. We're basically clicking on Shift A so that we can put in the space between them. Let's go ahead and type in 16 right there. So space between them 16. Okay, and I'm just going to bring this a little bit to the bottom. Okay, so space between them 16. So right now, if you take a look, I want us to have the same thing. I want us to have a uniform measurement or uniform distance from the bottom. Okay, so how you measure is you select this, hold down Alt key, then you move to the bottom. You can see right now it's at 152. On the left and right, we have 32. Your own might be different, but I want us to push it down to 144. Okay, so selecting this, I'm just going to move down and you can see the number changing. Okay, select it. You can see the number changing as I'm moving down. So I want it at 144. Okay, perfect. So there we go at 144. Make sure yours is at 144 so that we have the same thing. So with this out of the way, I can actually say that I'm done with the splash screen. Okay, so on the splash screen, we have these two things here. The next thing we want to go and create is the sign up screen. So let me click on the frame, and let me also get the iPhone 14, 15 Pro. Let's click here and type in sign up. So for the sign up, we are basically going to ask for their name, their email, and their password. Okay, basically that's what we want to request for. So let's go ahead and create the sign up form. So first of all, we want to set up some guides to help us with this sign up form. It's important to set up guides. Okay, now for our guides, we're just going to draw some boxes, but first of all, let's draw the background first. So here, let me just draw a rectangle. Okay, and select this here, select this right here. Make sure it's the same size as the frame. So let's go ahead and give this color. Let's use the primary 50 for this background color. And remember, go back to layer. Let's name this BG. That's background. Okay, background. Let me lock it. So I'm basically going to draw out some guides here. Okay, remember, when you look at phones, you can see that they have some certain things already at the top. So let's draw a rectangle here. Now for this rectangle, I'm going to give it size 44, which should be for the status bar, size 44. Okay, and let's go ahead and just give this a color. Let's go with our warning colors. Let's go ahead and give this 400. Let's choose 500. Move it to the top. Okay, you can actually select this to move it to the top. Then you also want to duplicate this. You can go ahead and call that one the status bar. Okay, then you want to select the second one. For the second one, we want to call it the nav bar. Remember to name it, double click right there and type in nav bar. So let's select this and duplicate that, and we are going to call that the tab bar. Okay, tab bar, and the same size 60. Okay, and let's duplicate it again. Let's select this first one and duplicate. I just want to make sure I want to use the same color. That's why I'm duplicating that. For this particular one, let's make it 22. So this will be the safe area. Okay, and bring it to the bottom. Sorry, make sure it's at the bottom. You can use this. Select it to be at the bottom. Now for this, I'm just going to drop it on top of it. Make sure it snaps. So I'm going to select. Okay, so I'm just going to leave them there. Remember, we are not using them. We're just using them as a guide. Okay, we're just using them as a guide. Let me also go ahead and activate my grid layout. Okay, the 2-column grid layout. So the next thing we want to do now is to start filling in the information. The first thing we want to bring in here is our form. Okay, our input field. And for our input field, it should be an app. Okay, user input. Okay, so drag it in right there. So let's place it here. Okay, so the first thing we want is just this. So let's deactivate the extra. We don't want the extra. Okay, and we don't want the right icon and the left icon. We don't want those. We don't want the right icon. So deactivate right icon, deactivate the left icon. We want the user input, of course, and we also want the label. Okay, so for this label, let's type in full name. Okay, type your full name. Okay, type your full name. Let's go to better UX writing. Enter your full name. Okay, so we have it there. Enter your full name. Okay, this I'm going to duplicate, move it down, and instead of full name here, we're going to have email. Okay, and for this, we're going to say enter your email. Enter email. And for this particular one, we're going to duplicate again. For this, we are going to need the right icon because this is for password field. So right icon. Okay, so we're going to, instead of email, we have password. And then enter your password. Okay, and then here we want to duplicate. Then instead of password, we just want to have retype password, just like that here. Oops, retype password. Okay, so let's go in there. Instead of enter, we want to go to re-enter. Confirm password. Let's type in there confirm password. Okay, so we have confirmed password right there. So this is basically all we need for this form. So select 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, because these 4, they are related, so we want to kind of group them because they are related. Okay, so we want to do Shift A. So once we've done this, the next thing we want to do is to, for related items, you want them to be a little bit closer, right? So let's go ahead and choose 24 for the spacing right there. So we have 24 right there, okay, for the space between them. The next thing we want to bring in now is the button, okay, button. And for this button, you want to drop it here as usual, and you want to increase it. And also, we do not need the left and right icon. And the button there should say sign up. Awesome. So for this one now, we have this group here. The next thing we need to do is to select it with this button and do another Shift A. Okay, so let's go ahead now and call this sign up button. Sorry, sign up form. Sign up form, okay. And what we can also do now is to set the spacing. So for the spacing, since we're using 24 for this particular one, we can just do 24 plus 16 for the spacing between the form fields now and the sign up. 24 plus 16. So the rule that can actually help you here is whatever size you are using for the spacing between the form field, just, with our 8-point grid, do times 2 of it, that's 16, and add to it, you get an optimal distance between the form and the buttons. Okay, I think we are good to go here. Now, what you can also do right now, so that we can reuse this all the time, is to come in here and select create components. But for now, we're not going to do this for now. Okay, so usually you want to create a form component, but for now, let's leave this the way it is. The next thing we want to just do here is to put in our form and our back button. So let's go ahead and put in our logo and our back button. Now let me duplicate this logo right here, and I want to come and drop this logo right here. Okay, don't worry, we're going to measure that. We're not just placing things anywhere. So instead of main, you want to choose blue. Okay, so from the top, that's from this particular top here, let's measure. It's at 24. Okay, we could actually bring it down to 32. Perfect. So we've brought it down to 32. And let's go ahead and bring in our assets. Go to our asset and type in chevron. Okay, so when you type in chevron, I want you to pick the chevron left. So chevron left, we're just going to drop it here, and let's give that a white color. Okay, no white color, because we're actually going to delete this. Okay, so let's select it and make sure it's actually here. Then select the chevron, hold down shift, select the chevron, hold down the shift, and select the nav bar, and then use this align horizontal, align vertical center. Then click on align vertical center. This should give us a quick good alignment right there. Okay, so that's what we want. That's what we want right there. Now you can actually go ahead and select everything there. That's this guides. You can actually go ahead, go back to your layers, select these guides, 1, 2, 3, 4, group them, call them guides, and then go ahead and hide it. Okay, so we have this right here for the sign up. Okay, so that's the sign up. For the sign up, that's what we have right there. And I think I also want an appropriate distance between this and this. Okay, so let me select this and hit Alt and measure. We have 41 there. Let's push it up so it's 40. We want to make sure we maintain that 8 points, grid spacing. Okay, so we don't want to put things randomly. Okay, remember we are using 40 right here, and here also we are using 40 between the distance between this and this. Okay, and let's go ahead now and duplicate this. Okay, duplicate, Control D, and let me bring it right under here. Okay, right under here, and we want to call this sign in. Sign in. Okay, now for our sign in, We don't need much of this again. So for assigning, I'm just going to select this. It's just about to delete the ones we don't need. Now you can see the advantage of auto layout. You can see as I'm deleting, it is updating automatically. Okay. So select this retype password. We don't need it. We activate it. Okay. Now for the password, we now want to activate forgot password, right? We want to activate that extras. Okay. But it's only forgot password we need. So let's hide feedback. Okay. And there you go. We have this. Then want to have another one that says already have an account or don't have an account, sign up. Okay. So let's, here for the button, we want to type in sign in. Okay. But I think we would have used login. Okay, login. What did we use on the splash screen? Okay, login. Okay, great. So we want to maintain the same vocabulary. So we have login right there. And I'm just going to pick my text tool now. And I'm going to type in don't have an account. Don't have an account. Question mark there. So we have a button right there. So for this particular one, we're going to use the normal one, not the bold. So small. Okay. We have it right here. But what I want to do next is to go back inside to assets, and I want to bring in another button. Okay. So my button, I want to turn off these icons. And for the text, I want to type in sign up. Okay. Now for our button type, remember you can turn on the grid to actually view what's going on. But right now, since we have some elements, if I should drag this, it should help me snap automatically. Okay. But if it's going to confuse you, just bring in those grids. So sign up. And for my button type, I want to go from here to outline. So I think I want to use outline for this. Okay. And let's go ahead and select this and this, and let's do Shift A. Now remember what was the spacing we used for this common region? We used what, 24. So the same thing we want to do here. We want to use 24 here. Okay, great. And for this and this, we can actually do Shift A. So once we do Shift A, we can now check the size. What size do we use between this? We used 40. Okay. So now we use the same principle here. 40 now plus 16. Okay. This should give us around 56. Now 40 plus 16, this should give us 56. And right here, we have our accounts page, our sign-in page created. Okay. Now with the sign-in page created, all that is left is to just come ahead, duplicate this, and duplicate this. We want to call here, just arrange it well. Okay. We want to come in here and select in password recovery. Okay. Password recovery. So let's type in password recovery right there. So for password recovery, basically they require just the email, and then that's all. So let me go ahead and select this. I'm deleting this. Okay. I'm also selecting this two, and I'm deleting them. Okay. So all we need is this. So let's, instead of that email there, let's type in your email. Okay. Let's select type in your email, enter your email. Okay. Okay. Email, enter email. So for the button, we want to use something more, something more descriptive, so it's easier. So for that, let's type in, for this button, let's say send password reset link. Send password reset link. Voila. Okay. Just hit enter. Now we are done with this particular flow. You can see we easily have our sign up screen, our sign in screen, and our password recovery screen. Now there's something we can do to actually make this look better, because right now this is just basic. So what we can do to make this better is to add some gradients and some shadows to our design. And how do we do that? To add gradients, let's select this one. So this will be our first gradient style that we are going to be creating. Okay, let's select this particular one, and let's go to layers, and I want to target the background. Okay, the background, I'm going to unlock it. So you can see the color we're using here is this primary 50. I want you to go ahead and unlink it so that we can actually, give it a gradient color. So detach style. Now click on this color now. And instead, we've been using this particular place, the solid fields, all this while. So now I want to introduce you to gradient fill. Just do this. Later on, we're going to have a class where we'll discuss gradients and mesh fills more. Okay. So let's click on gradients. So this gradient, what you just need to know is that we have two types of gradient here. We have two stops for the gradient. We have the first stop and the second stop, and you can actually add as more color as you want. Okay, and in each stop you can actually choose the color here and the transparency here. You can see right now we have this color here, but the transparency is set to 100, but for here we have this color, but the transparency is set to 0. So what I want you to do is to come and set this transparency to 100. Okay, now let me just choose a color for you to see what's going on. If I choose this color now, you can see what's going on right there, but that's not what we want to do. Instead, we want to go ahead and make it white, pure white. Okay, you just have to be subtle. Okay, so you just have to be subtle like that. So that's what we want to do right now. So this is what we want, and we can now close this. So since we want to reuse this, let's go ahead and click on the menu here and let's add it. Okay, sorry, let's click on the plus and let's add that gradient there. Let's call it light gradient. Okay, let's call it light gradient, and let's click on create style right there. Okay, so we have it there, light gradient. So with this out of the way, I also want us to do the same thing on the buttons. Okay, so I also want us to do the same thing on the buttons. Okay, so I'm just going to select one of these buttons, and then instead of this primary 500, I'm also going to unlink it. Okay, detach style, and then I'm going to select here, then gradient. Now you can see it has given us these two buttons again. So what I want you to do is to bring this one this way, somewhere around there. Okay, and then drag this one all the way to the bottom. You can actually do top and bottom, but I prefer this sideways. Okay, so what you want to do right now is to go ahead and give this particular one the dark blue. So how do we get that dark blue? I think I'm just going to move away first. Let me get that particular color. Let me draw a rectangle, and let's go ahead and pick our color here. So remember, we're using 500, so we just want to go somewhere around 700 or 600. Let's try 700. Okay, so select this button back, and we want to click here. I want to select this second one. Remember, make it 100 so you can see what you're doing. Select this eyedropper now, and then click here. Okay, that should give us what we're looking for. Click on it. Good. So this particular one, we can now click here, and let's click on the plus sign, blue gradient. You can also get a better name later, but now let's just go with this blue gradient. Okay, and for this particular button, we are also going to give you some shadows. Okay, we're also going to give you some shadow just to make it pop. So for the shadow, we want to go ahead and come to effect. Let's go to effect. Sorry. Oops. Let's go to effect right there, and then let's click on the plus sign. Now we have this drop shadow. Okay. Then I want you to click on these settings right here. And for our x-axis, we want to maintain 4. For our y-axis, we want to put in 8. Now, whatever number you have here, double it for the blur. Just it works. Okay. So double it here. So let's go ahead and put in 16 right there. Now you can see the effect, but we don't want to use black. Okay, we don't want to use black. Instead, let's come in here and choose our normal blue color. That's this. Select this blue color. Okay, select that color. And for our transparency, you want to make it somewhere around, let's go with 25. Enter, and somewhere around there should be okay for this particular shadow. Okay, so for that shadow now, we're going to click here, and let's click create a style, and then let's call it shadow 1. Okay, so now with all this done, what I want to do now is to just select my button now. Okay, we have that blue gradient and we have that shadow 1. We can now go back to all these places we have the button and give it those colors. Instead of primary blue, okay, let's scroll up to gradients, and then let's come down to effects and add that effect. Awesome. So the same thing, we want to repeat the same thing here. Now, why I didn't apply this to the main button component, we can actually apply it to the main button component if we want, okay? But I just want us to do this right here, right now, because I want us to just to maintain that view right there, okay? And the effects, I want us to go ahead and choose shadow 1. So now we have this, and let's see if we can also apply it here. If the contrast isn't that bad, we're going to maintain that, okay? And let's go to effects, and let's choose the shadow 1 right there. Let me see. Okay, I think that should work. But it's not really working well, but let's just leave it. That should work also. So let me click there. Now we have this, we have all these screens created.